Greetings, everybody. We're back around our homes again today to have a drink and some chit chats.
Some of the chit chats, not all of the chit chats.
Yep.
More importantly,
I don't know. After last night, I don't know how important this is.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So today I've been carrying around my SHOT Show Rift with the carbon fiber and blue G10 for the handles.
I've always thought that was such a cool handle material.
Yeah, I love that combo. It's so nice.
Guy just decides to double his knife collection in one day by pulling out his safe queens.
True. It happened.
I am rocking today the lucky one from Cold Steel. Just small, light as hell. I got to be honest with you. I may or may not be wearing pants right now as it is, so it's something easy to have kicking around. So
I had to put pants on, but you don't have to wear pants.
Hey, man, this stream is live. We'll find out the hard way eventually, probably.
Phrasing.
You next, Joe.
All right. Sorry. I went a little chonky today. Went with my ZT Emerson, the 620 CF? Yes, 620 CF. I know the names of my knives. Sue me.
Was that slamming on me for not knowing the name of the knife?
No, it was me because I had to actually go back and check to make sure I wasn't lying to people when I said what the name was, and I didn't lie.
It was a little bit you too, Paul.
Speaking of Paul.
Speaking of me, I finally got things figured out in the background there, which is nice.
Yay.
I'm racking the Boker Quaken VG10 in carbon fiberiness. And it's very pokey.
Just a little.
Yes.
So yeah, this week instead of getting you to ask us questions for us to answer, we asked you all questions for you to answer. And then we're going to talk about them.
Indeed.
Yeah,
we're going to judge. We're going to criticize. We're going to do all the terrible things. Yeah.
Just going to say.
We're going to lose followers left and right tonight. It's going to be a good time.
How do we have negative followers? No.
Sorry, I was wrong. I thought I got things figured out in the background. I don't. So how do we want to do this tonight? Do we want to do each question and do everybody's response? Or do I want to do each individual person and their response to each question?
Let's do it in groups of questions. Questions and then everybody's responses.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
All right. So the first question was, if you could remake or alter one production knife, what would you choose and how would you change it? And right off the hop, Who's Your Knife Nut jumped in with most of them. Throwing shade right off the hop.
Yeah.
And his point is not wrong, I would argue, with thinner blade stocks and better heat treats and grinds.
Yep.
It's going to make a better knife all around.
Mm-hmm.
I think
he's got us there. No, he's just got us there. Yeah, you bet. Yeah. For the most part, you probably could lose a mil or two off the thickness, and if you step to 55 up to a 58 on the Rockwell,
thin out the stock, refine the angles, improve edge geometry and stuff like that, and push what we have now can do rather than making the next new thing.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly,
I think that's starting to be more of a general trend too. More companies coming out with knives that have better grinds, better blade stock thickness, hopefully better heat treatment. They're saying it's better, but you know.
Well, too much.
Something that we dabbled on before, but like even one of the reasons Cold Steel, like the little Luckies in S35, and whether it's S35, XHP, whatever type of thing, Cold Steel's been proven more over and over that they are what they say they are type of thing, right? Like it's so positive or negative what you say about that company or them doing their crazy videos or whatever. They seem to be the only people that controversy seems to be like, nope, they're good. Like, let them do their thing.
They're doing what they say they're doing.
Yeah. at least controversy in the heat treatment department.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll give you that. We had a response in from Mr. Fisk on Instagram as well. I don't think this will surprise the three of you, but if you haven't followed Mr. Fisk on Instagram, he's a pretty funny dude. And he wants to change the Sebenza 31. He would like it to turn it back into a 21 because there wasn't a damn thing wrong with that damn knife.
Yeah, okay. You're not going to hear any arguments out of me.
No, it is on brand for Mr. Fisk, and it's also not the wrong point. But the only caveat to that I will say is that if you get a 31 with just titanium slabs without inlays or onlays, it looks like a 21.
Yeah, there's not much difference.
Yeah.
It's when you get up into the variations of the Sebenzas that it's really noticeable. Yeah, for sure.
In that regard, I agree with them. I don't like the new onlays. They're not nice. They're not my favorite thing in the world.
I think for me, it's more materials. The carbon fiber one I didn't think looked too bad type of thing, but when it came to some of the woods and stuff, I thought it looked kind of junky and awkward type of thing with the new onlay, just especially because the other side's not mismatched anyway, so it just makes it even more mismatched than it used to be in the first place, right? So
it's something for me that you see a lot of the time in cheaper knives where the main handle material is differently shaped than the liners underneath. So for me, it's just something that when I see it, I immediately think it looks cheap. It looks like a gas station special. And not that a Sebenza looks like a gas station special, but it has that same like automatic reaction to my brain. It's like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I have one last thing to add to the Sebenza when it comes to the mods. I like the Spidey hole if it's done properly. The Spidey Benza, if it's done, I've seen them because you're getting close to the spine when you're doing there. And I've seen a couple of them where they get too close and you're just like, you watch that one something fierce. But if it's done properly, man, that's not a bad looking blade, man. So not that I'm against thumb studs, because if you look at my collection, yeah. But
the Spidey hole is nice in general.
There's something there. It's
Okay. Next up on I don't know what I'm trying to say. The next person is Mad1 Outdoors from Instagram. He wants to change the Benchmade proxy. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what the proxy is off the top of my head.
It's the brown-handled flipper that Osborne made right before he passed away.
The one that
brown on one side, titanium frame lock on the other.
Okay. And what he wants to change about it, he wants to, it's a 154 cm blade, and he wants a price drop on it.
That is not what that blade steel is.
Fair
enough.
I'm just reading what I'm reading.
Well, how about this? It's a 20 CV blade steel, and you can enjoy that at the price point it is.
Oh, no, wait. I'm misreading this. He would like to change it from a 20 CV blade to a 154 cm blade and
drop the price on it.
So make the design more accessible, lower the price overall. Okay, I can see an argument for it.
Yeah.
So until you change that god ugly brown handle, that's step one for mods. Step two might be a steel choice and a price point. But let's be honest here. The first thing that's got to go is the chocolate ice cream brown that they're throwing.
Is it like a dark brown? It's not like a coyote or something.
It is a kind of coyote tan.
Okay.
But I just find with a lot of the dull ones, like they're not polished or whatever. No, it's not like your QSP.
Okay.
It's literally more like desert tan paracord.
Mm-hmm. Like your QSP is a lot more brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or orangey tinges and things like that in the QSP handle. As far as the brown color, it gets more into that type of idea. Like it's
does it have an access lock?
No.
No.
Okay, so that's the Benchmade flipper that I'm thinking of. Is the one with the
Yeah, it's a gray frame lock on it.
Okay.
And I always kind of joke that it looks like it kind of had a stroke because the blade kind of slopes down in a weird, awkward way.
Yeah.
That knife had a stroke, right? But yeah. It's also because it's mismatched scales, so it's kind of like limp on one side a little bit at the same time. Like it's so I'm pretty sure we lost a subscriber from that comment.
I wasn't even gonna make it
Oh,
that you were gonna make.
I don't even know how well
there
that's...
you go.
Okay, I know exactly what. Yeah. All right.
It's that guy. Yeah.
I agree about the color.
And regardless of what I slag on the knife, I actually really like the Proxy. The action
cool.
on it was smooth. The ergos on it was absolutely fantastic.
I kind of like that. Yeah. I really tend to like knives that have that slope from tip to butt end on the spine side. That's just an aesthetic choice that I really like. The Proxy's a tank.
Even things like Paul's Tur. Got that nice, just constant to it, right?
The Tur does it as well, yeah.
All right. Next up, we got a response from Ahsoka Edge. And if anybody was watching
it's shocking that we got a response.
Know, right? If you're watching last week, you know Ahsoka likes to ask us a lot of questions. And luckily for us, they answered some too. They would like to change the little native. And what they would like to do with the little native is remove the peak between the two finger choils.
And just do...
And I guess just make it like straight.
Okay, so make it one large finger choil.
I don't disagree with that choice. Yeah.
It would
maybe just be all right. Nice curve.
Yeah. It'd be better ergonomically, but it wouldn't be a mini native at that point, would it?
But then, when you remove that, can you add a second Spidey hole so you can double flick it?
You're too preoccupied whether you can and not whether you should.
I think Dennis needs a timeout.
Hey, Joe, I'm pretty sure you can mute him from your end.
You're talking mods. You get the creative side flowing. Come on.
There you go.
This is why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got an answer from Gear in Situ from Instagram. They would like to change almost every Spyderco. I'm curious about the line between like where almost is, you know, and like the whole like pet food kind of thing where you draw your line.
Yeah.
But they would like to change almost every Spyderco, and they want to make some with reverse tanto or sheepfoot designs. He does not like leaf blades.
Fair enough.
And from an aesthetic point, I completely understand. But leaf blades cut well.
But then even when you look at the sheep's foot or like the Wardenclyffe blades that Spyderco has, they're not necessarily good-looking knives either.
Not usually, though.
No.
I'm not a huge fan of Spyderco's warnies.
Like, they definitely do some good ones if it's, like, originally that's what they designed, but when they just make an already existing model into a warnie, that's when it starts to lose out, I find.
Most definitely.
The new Canis,
yes.
Actually. That thing with the weird swedge on the top of the blades, that thing has caught my attention at least. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but
I was just trying
it's like a sheep's, it's like a Wardenclyffe Mannix.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of funky.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
It's like a Wardenclyffe Mannix looking thing.
It looks like a knife that I'd use on a boat. Make a salt-themed one.
I'm forgetting the name of the guy who had it, but on YouTube there was somebody who got a Canis because he was on their Spyderco's Elite membership club or whatever the hell they call it, where you get a numbered Spyderco. And he says, like, yeah, it's kind of a drag to buy every single one, even if you're not into it. But he actually was playing with it in hand. I'm like, okay, that knife actually looks pretty interesting. Seeing it in catalog doesn't really do it justice in terms of actually like having the knife and being able to turn it over and look at it. I'm interested. It's a big knife, though.
No, it reminds me of the
I think I do agree. Oh, go ahead, Nigel.
It reminds me of the Temperance.
Yeah?
The old Spyderco Temperance, like the big fixed blade they used to have.
Yeah. I know
kind of, but even the Temperance was a little leafy. right?
But like more just the handle, and it's like
Okay.
like what
Yeah,
reminds
I
me
see
of
that.
it is it's the Warncliffe version of the Temperance sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay,
can
I
see that.
gotcha.
I hate to do this, but I'm realizing now that Gear Situ actually worded his issue with leaf blades really funny. And
Okay.
I have to say it. He's got beef with the leaf.
Oh my.
Fantastic.
Yes. You should definitely keep your beef away from the leaf. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if I have beef with the leaf, but it's definitely lower down on my favorite blade shape list. Like he was talking about reverse tantos, and like if we're just talking traditional drop points or whatever. I know Joe is a sucker for daggers, so like
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're looking for a knife that works, that like does good cutting and stuff like that, and you don't care what it looks like, kind of the whole ethos behind Spyderco in the first place, you might like them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But there's definitely prettier things out there.
he did the whole thing just to be able to incorporate a hole. You needed that like flair to be able to, and whether it was so that's what came about in the first place. If you look at every other knife company out there, no one focuses on that much of a flared shape.
No, 100%.
Other than Spyderco. Yeah.
The thing, the Spyderco knives that I like the most are the knives that incorporate that hole without having to change their shape to accommodate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the
Those are my
PPT, for
favorites
example.
too.
Big wide blade, the smock, things like that, where it's just there. It works. Or like the Sliz Bowie, where they will tuck it away a little bit to make it.
Yeah.
It's not tucked at all. It's perfect.
Yeah, but they cut away the liner a little bit to be able to tuck it away, right?
Yeah. Compared to, and especially my GB1 compared to Joe's GB2, but the GB1, like it sticks out all day. Like his GB2 is slimmer when it's closed for sure, but it's still like an awkward hump.
A more gradual ramp to it.
Yeah. So
they can get pretty obtuse sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
Obtuse rubber goose.
You can mute Paul at any point in time.
You would all appreciate that.
Considering just calling the whole thing here, but you know, it's
that's fair. The other question that we had for you guys this week was, what do you think the next big thing the knife community is going to be? And
I like the question. For the record, I like this question.
Yeah. And right off the hop, we got Mr. Fisk again, and again, humorous response. He wants to see batarangs.
Nice. I'm with him. Like something that's a quick release off the belt, for sure. Like
with magnets or something, so they hold.
You were on the same page, for sure. Yeah, we're there.
So since we're on the point of Batman and batarangs and stuff like that, I've seen shots of the new costume, and it looks like he's got a knife on each side and tucked into the emblem on his chest. But then you can see like the pocket clip on the outside still. Like it just looks so weird. I want to know what the hell's going on with that.
That sounds super bizarre. Like, wow.
Since when does Batman use knives in the first place?
I know, like that's part of why I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. All of his batarangs.
Frank Miller's Batman uses knives.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's Batman doesn't fuck around, all right?
Apparently.
I had the comic Dark Knight Returns somewhere around here. That's too bad. Good shit.
On that same note, Mad One Outdoors, his thoughts for what's going to be the next big thing are masks. And I was going to grab one, but like the cloth face masks. He's saying that they're going to replace Hanks as like the EDC thing. You're going to see it in photo shots and things like that. You know,
the drops are going to be your cool masks that you're wearing, type of thing.
I can see that happening.
And I got to admit, like we all picked them up.
If we see an increase as we go into the fall and stuff like that, definitely.
Look at him all answering smart like and stuff.
I know, right?
Like, for sure. That's actually not a bad call, especially with the world. And who knows? Like, we're going to see in the next couple months, the next whatever 6, if there's sustain, if there's a second wave, if it's nothing at all and it just dies off, it comes back in the wintertime like normal flu season does. Like, who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually not a bad call when it comes to the masks. We got to shout out Cutting Edge and Tactical Innovations for coming out with some pretty awesome masks. Does no one have one handy?
Not handy, no. I'd have to run.
I haven't even been
Paul
back
is
to
the
work yet.
handiest. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's
I have
was
to go
definitely
into
handy.
like 3 rooms over to get mine.
Yeah. That's the whole rest of my apartment. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
with the coolest thing about these guys too is the fact that they have, you know, a clip on the back, and then they're not hanging off your ears. They strap around the back of your neck and the back of your head, like a painter's mask or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and adjustable. And once you got them adjusted, you can just slap them on, and they're good every single time. Like I fiddled with mine for 10 or 15 minutes to like sit there and be like, no, that spot pinches, loosen it up here, loosen it up there, and blah blah blah. And then afterwards, you can just sit there. And I sat there for a good 5 minutes, and was like, no, this is comfortable as shit, type of thing. And ever since then,
And a good tip for anyone finding it hard to breathe through their masks: if you just cut a hole in your mask, it makes it a lot easier to breathe again.
I can do you one better than that. You
Oh,
just
God.
pull it down a little bit so your nose is out. Fine.
See, I've seen people do that, but cutting a hole in the mask? Is that a...
I saw a video clip of it.
Americans.
Oh my God.
Yep.
well, I mean,
And
I had that snowboard thing that's like it prevents frostbite, but it's got the breathing hole, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it works. It's perfect, right?
Yeah,
So,
makes sense in that
You can
context.
breathe just fine. It's great. Yeah.
now, I will also mention right now with those masks, you might notice that I have also probably cut back. I'm going to say 1.5 inches to 2 inches as well, like Paul did the other week,
Yeah,
just
an
to
inch
be
and a
able
half
to
to two.
accommodate the mask a little bit more conveniently, type of thing, right? So I'm also thinking that the beard phase in the EDC rotation might end a little bit if masks do get more popular.
Yeah, I've actually just
See.
been tying my beard up so I can tuck it under the bottom edge of the mask, sort of thing, so it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I still do like a kind of like a tuck type of thing to get it all proper.
But this is a lot to tuck, so having it tied up and then
Oh,
I can
there's-
bobby pin it or something.
I'm pretty sure Paul made a comment.
In regards to the masks, I went to the liquor store yesterday to pick up some booze, and was wearing one of the masks. And I got to the front counter, and I got ID'd, and I was surprised because I haven't been ID'd in 15 years. So I like incredulously pulled the mask down and was like, I don't actually. I just brought my debit card with me. I didn't have my whole wallet. And she was like, "Oh, never mind. As soon as you pull the mice down, you look old enough." And I was like,
Facial hair. Yeah.
"You just called me old. That's cool. Thanks. Appreciate it."
Well, not just that, but I do notice as well, like not so much right now, but if I used to trim it down just like nice and manicured and douchey back in the day. And honestly, yeah, it would make me drop like 5 years off compared to Nigel that looks like fucking Gandalf over here.
Haggard old man.
No, I just mean that you've died and come back from the dead.
No, that's just because I'm really tired.
That too. We might as well say Paul, Nigel, and myself. We're actually out last night for the first time. I've got a massive front yard, so we 6 feet proximity knife throwing and a bonfire around my place, and it was fantastic. We had a great
Yeah,
time.
good times.
Yeah. So,
it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous. Not
Joe
really.
opted out.
Sucker.
Yeah.
That's just mean. On to the next one. We got a response here from Ahsoka Edge, and his next big thing in the EDC world is going to be front flippers. And I think, again, it's probably right.
Yeah, that wave has definitely already started.
That's it. You're seeing them start to roll out slowly but surely, and I think it's just going to get more and more prevalent. And
Between him and Madwan, they're all like thinking and coming up with good answers and stuff. I got to give them credit. We're
Look
a
at
bunch
the
of
big
goofballs
brains
over
over
here,
there.
and they're actually, they're throwing some legitimate questions at us for sure. So
That's it. And then the last one was from Gear in Situ.
Oh, hang on. The last trend of front flippers. I was going to comment. Even again, the customs that have been coming out more and more. You've seen front flippers coming out tons, right? So
the question that I have is: are you going to see a gradual disappearance of flippers like this as they get replaced by front flippers because they're just more out of the way?
Okay, so here's the thing, and it might get us in trouble for actually mentioning it, but a lot of like, especially customs and blah, 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 and I don't know if this works out everywhere else in the world, but hasn't quite clicked into front flippers being the super fast action that any sort of back flippers are or whatever. So even countries like Australia that have some same restrictions as we do in Canada and some European countries and stuff like that, I wonder how long front flippers can go under the wire before they start to get kind of like picked up on as like, hey,
wait a minute,
the UK is the first. Just keep an eye on them. If they don't let front flippers in, everyone else is going to follow, type of thing, right? Like it's
That's exactly
that's something that I'm kind of curious about. Is have we found a way to get around some things in some restricting countries? So
we shouldn't have answered that question, is what I'm hearing.
Well, we're live and there's 400 viewers. They're not going to be picking up on us nearly as quick as some other boys on the street. But, so.
And then the last one that we got was from Gear in Situ again, and it's build your own kits. So apparently Svord, the little like the guys that do the peasant knives and stuff like that, apparently you can buy them in a kit and assemble it yourself.
So here's the other funny thing, and I don't know if you've noticed on our channels page there, Paul, but I noticed that anytime I put up a promotion about the Pokey Factor on my own personal like social media or whatever, Sport Canada is right in there throwing a like down every single time I put up anything. So it's curious on maybe Sport Canada might want to send us one of those do-it-your-kit sells our way as the Pokey Factor. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We would do a fair review on them.
Maybe send us a few. There's a few of us here.
And let us do some reviews on those and see if that is the next big trend.
We could even set up like a live stream of us building them.
That
could be fun. Oh, yeah.
A 4-way crafting session? Oh, it's going to end disastrously.
Substantially less alcohol involved. Who am I kidding?
Yourself.
Even still, I'd like to see it. I don't know if that's going to be a trend necessarily. I think it's a cool idea, but I think just as many people want to buy a Griptilian as make a Griptilian.
Well, think about the knife companies that Loctite the hell out of their knives so that you don't take them apart, because it costs them so much money for people sending them their knives to get reassembled and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I think of the build your knife kits and stuff like that, I think of like the CRKT wood line of like the knife kits that they did for the kids, or like even with the Sword one, it would be buy a bunch of them for the Cub Scout troop and keep them busy for an afternoon.
Build your own knife
skills, and like to me the knife kits are more a stepping stone to get the youth into knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's also a barrier for entry too. Like the smock, for instance, isn't the most complicated knife to put together, but there's a lot of really tiny parts. You kind of need a really simplistic build in order for a build your own kit to really be successful. Like, can you imagine somebody trying to build their own Griptilian and having never played around with an axis lock before?
Yeah.
My argument.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not saying. Yeah.
Honestly, this thing is simple as hell.
Not saying there aren't answers, but there's definitely going to be limitations in what you can have, applicably speaking.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that none of you guys mentioned this. The Spyderco used to do, and it was a fake knife, like the wooden kit and the plastic kit, as a kid's first ability to like put a knife together and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the
It's right at the
CRKT
same
one
kind
that
of idea.
Nigel was referencing. Was the
Okay.
Old Spyderco had one as well. It was a glow-in-the-dark plastic.
Okay. Yeah. I put them both in the same under the same company.
So two things with these comments is one thing I wanted to say is you never know, some company, one of these new Chinese up and coming companies might just throw a works in and actually throw one of these do it yourselves, and it's just a cool design that even adults would want as well type of thing. Is the
Yeah.
next step. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Now the next cool, awesome segue to that conversation is also the fact that Condor now has a new do-it-yourself knife that is in the Blue River series.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys knew that, but
No, I was not aware.
No.
Did I
In the
send you the Blue River scales?
Blue River scales with, like, I believe it's a folding knife with a wood blade and a lockback or something like that. It might be a fixed blade, actually, that they just have pins and scales. I'm not 100% sure, but there is a wood do-it-yourself kit in the Blue River series.
Okay.
So that segues really nicely to some other bullshit going on right now.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna start there then, right off the hop.
Well, Jesus Christ, man, take a hint.
You're rude.
So
We're
yeah,
gonna start
for
off
the
here.
But we knew this.
second half of the video here, we're gonna take a look at a couple new Condor products that we've been able to play with.
That's what I was waiting for. Right off the hop here, we got the Blue River NAF
Mhm.
with its what is it, reconstituted?
Yep.
Turquoise in it. Very, very
Yeah,
pretty.
so kind of what I figured by what they mean by the reconstituted turquoise is it's like little shards and offcuts from larger chunks that it's hard to do anything with, so they've set it in resin and then shaped and formed it from there.
Yeah, that's most definitely.
Keep showing that off a little bit there, Paul.
It's got a really pretty there we go. Really pretty sheath with some nice motifs, some like nice, like kind of, I would say like, what would I say? Like New
Like a
Mexico
native-
style, Native American.
Kind of like Native American beadwork.
yeah, exactly.
Resembling it, yeah.
With
It
a
is
really nice,
just a little strip of embroidery. It's not actual beadwork, but that's kind of what they were trying for.
that's it. As well as a nice like leather cut image of two native folks hunting a buffalo, it looks like.
Yeah, kind of cave painting style.
Yeah, very much so. Very cool. And the cool thing about this knife is that it's in a whole like series of Blue River objects, right? You've got
Now-
their little.
If we had been smart, we would have brought the machete because Cutting Edge, again, did have the whole Blue River series, but the new ones for this year, or the Tomahawk, because the new ones for this year were the machete and the Tomahawk.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that as I'm saying it on Instagram or YouTube. But they got all four of them in. And honestly, all of them were pretty damn cool, right?
Mhm.
But
They
I
are,
think
yeah.
I think we brought this particular one because it still stands out as everyone's favorite that has handled it so far.
So one weird thing that I was saying to Nigel yesterday for me is when I do an inset, like if I change out a piece of wood or something like that in a handle, I tend to do things in that orientation. And so the whole Blue River series looks backwards to me.
Got the wrong lean to the cut.
Yeah, it's leaning backwards instead of. It's just a weird quirk that it bothers me.
It was made specifically to bother you.
Sucker.
It's probably true. That's probably true.
So what you're saying is that the Blue River series came into the store so you could learn how to angle shit the other way. It's-
No,
Well,
no. The answer to that question is no. A resounding no.
Ooh, that's funny.
Are we going on to the next one there?
we might as well. We got a couple Condor things that we get to play with right now. The shop was closed for a couple months because of coronavirus, so now that it's back open, we do have some new toys that we get to all check out. So yeah.
Next one up here is the what was the Lost Roman.
hmm
lost Roman knife from Condor. You want to give us some information on that there, Nigel? About
Yeah. This one they actually pulled out of an archaeological dig site that was within the London financial district. Underneath London, there's a whole bunch of lost rivers that they call them that throughout time have been filled up through building and moving the water flow and stuff like that. And in one of the sites, they found a whole bunch of Roman artifacts going all the way back to the 1st century AD. And
Nice.
this was one of the pieces that they found in there.
Distinctive in part because of the D-ring they had on the back of it, right?
Yeah, and even if you see a picture of the original, like the pattern on the handle is like exact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See if we can get that in
Here.
view at all.
Here, keep talking, Paul.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, one of the things I heard, and I thought it was an interview with Joe Flowers at the SHOT Show when they actually announced that they were releasing this knife, and one of the things I heard was it was apparently a lot smaller in actual size.
Probably about 1.5 to 2 inch of the tip had looked like it had been corroded or sharpened out. So it's hard to say how much longer it could have been, but it didn't seem like it was too much smaller.
Okay, fair enough. I thought that was a Joe Flowers interview at the SHOT Show, and they said that they had modified it to be a usable form.
Fair enough.
Kind of what he had mentioned.
I didn't see any size reference for like something in picture with the knife, so maybe they just like blew it up in general.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll go back actually this week and rewatch those because I'm pretty sure I remember which video it was that he said it at the SHOT Show. And we'll hold that bastard to his word. So
the thing that I really like about this one though is the way that they've actually molded the leather. The knife just slides right in, and it's like it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? One thing I can say about Condor is they make a pretty nice sheath.
That they do.
Something else I'll mention, and I don't even remember what the third knife is that you got, but so far both the offerings that we've had are actually 1095, not 1075, that Condor's known for.
Yeah, they've done a little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, it's just nice to see them dabbling with some nicer steels, stepping the game up.
Most definitely. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised the fact that you don't remember this.
I know. As soon as I said it, I knew, but I was still going to let you. Yeah. I forgot. We got a lot of new toys in.
Yeah.
I should mention this is the Plan A from Condor. You don't need a Plan B.
It's a big old blade there.
It's a big knife, but it's got a lot of really nice positive retention towards the backside to give you a little bit extra like swing to the blade for chopping and stuff like that.
And it's not quite a 10-inch blade, eh? I want to say like 8.5 or 9 is what I want to say off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, I got small hands and I can almost touch the tip of it, so.
Yeah. So, but the weight and the handle, especially for like the how it chops you in, it's a chopper for sure. Yeah, it's a great knife.
What's the blade stock thickness on that?
Sir, you're asking questions.
It's that thick right there.
It's very clearly. Like it's very clearly stated on Condor's website.
Yeah.
So
great, you made me sad, Dennis.
To be fair, if I had to guess, it looks about 3/16. It looks a little bit over 1/8, but not quite 1/4 inch.
Yeah, right. Like 3 mils, maybe something like that type of.
Yeah, 3.5. This one's cool too. Go ahead.
Nigel got to play with it yesterday, right? Me and Paul had played with it a little bit earlier in the week when it came in. Joe still hasn't played with it, but he's missing out because giggity. Holy giggity.
Yeah. And I will say
my next Condor knife. This planning going. Yeah.
And I will say on a note of the handle, how Paul had mentioned it's got that nice flare at the backside to help keep you locked in. It's not restricted. Like there was even enough room for my hands.
Nice.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Kayaks sheath.
That's what the next thing I was going to say is instead of doing the leather, they went with a Kydex for this guy, which makes perfect sense if I'm being honest. But they still did a leather belt loop on the back of it, which, if you're making a Kydex sheath and I'm thinking about putting a Kydex belt loop on it, just don't. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
They
I agree.
They don't work.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Put a leather. It gives you the flex. It gives you everything you want.
Yeah. That's exactly
at least woven nylon, but every time I see a Kydex belt loop, my heart dies just a little bit more.
Yeah, you're right there with the nylon. Cold steel does a hell of a good sheath.
One of the other things I'll mention, well, two things. On that note, they also came out with Kayaks Loops to go onto their stuff this year because apparently there was enough of a demand for it. And they were actually meant to be still vertical, even though you can make them horizontal. In all the pictures that they're using in those plastic sheaths, they're straight up using them as a vertical option instead of the nylon. So apparently enough people bitched about the nylon. But honestly, for me, like between the Velcro and the snap on the nylon, I love it, right?
100%.
The other thing with the Condor sheath in particular is Condor is super smart, and they actually put the screw inside the snap that actually locks the back of it on with the belt loop. So you can actually unscrew that and make it a lefty. So both for me and Nigel in this conversation, they did it to the Atrox Bowie as well. And that's where I learned about they actually, when they rivet their snap, they make a hollow hole that they actually put the threaded screw through that holds the belt loop.
I hadn't realized. That's a really nice touch.
So, yeah.
Another thing that they do really well, at least on this one, is they put a nice little ramp here. So when you go to take the knife out, you just push your thumb against that, and it slides right out.
One of my concerns with that, and they did a good job on that, the Atrox was a little bit loose, but on the flip side to that, I don't have to worry about it marring up the micarta on the Atrox. And on the Plan A Bowie, I do have a little bit of a concern on marring up the micarta a little bit because the retention is pretty positive. It's pretty tight on those guys.
There's not even there's no rattle to this thing. It's solid. You can even see where they've pressed in behind the clip point here.
Nice.
I'm pointing at the back side of it like an idiot.
Very nice.
Back here, right?
Why can't you see what I'm pointing at? But yeah, no, it's well held in this sheath. It's not going anywhere.
But I think personally overall, because for me, the marring up on the micarta is not such a big deal because it's probably going to be a user.
Yeah.
Condors aren't collector pieces. You're not trying to keep them pristine. You're going to go beat them up. You're going to go use them in the woods. You're going to you're not going to get resale value for a Condor. So if you're buying it, you better well use it type of thing, right? So
that's exactly it.
I don't think I necessarily care about a couple scratches on my micarta from a Kydex sheath.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. So
no, I don't think you need to worry about it in the first place, honestly, with anything from Condor, really.
And I know it'll probably get mentioned somewhere along the way in some sort of feedback review, blah, blah, blah type of thing. I guarantee it will be. Because there's probably bitches that buy Condor and don't actually go use them.
If you put a Bark River name on it and a Bark River price, and then it marred up the micarta, I'd probably bitch about it. But it would be like you're saying before about whether it's a user and how much it cost me to buy in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bark River does some pretty limited run stuff. For those limited runs, I'd be upset. But honestly, if it's just their standard A2 models or even something standard handle but in 3V that I'm going to take in the woods and just beat the crap out of anyway, no.
That's fair. Just kind of off topic because we're out throwing knives last night. I bet you that Plan A throw is pretty nice, even with that little projection on the backside. I don't care. Smashettes throw okay, even with a little hook on the backside.
Yeah, it's not the hook on the backside. It's the weight of the handle. It would be a weird blade to handle ratio. It'd be like throwing the Tom Brown, and it doesn't throw that good, but you can throw it. It's
fair enough.
So, yeah,
you just gotta learn the no spin with that guy.
Pretty much. Yeah. No spin with a Bowie knife is kind of weird, I think.
It's even weirder nose spin with the
Clip
Tom
point
Brown.
naturally, like you want to. Yeah, I don't know. The physics of a nose spin with a clip point is fancy science, right? Fancy science.
Just make sure when you release it, it comes off this edge first, clip side first, so that's what's leading towards the target.
So I know I'm just going to mention it right now for me that can't see it, for all of us that do have YouTube and Instagram, what are we working with viewership right now?
I still can't open the link, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
Really?
Yeah.
Still hasn't shown up for me.
Might have been going dead this entire fucking time?
Potentially.
We don't need